And we're live. Welcome, everybody. I got some patrons and good friends here with me, and we're going to try to launch this thing live, and hopefully I don't have any technical difficulties. Oh, the joy of too many buttons I have to push right now. So, you guys, thanks for joining me, because I was sitting here just going, what do I do? Get everything ready. And I was stressing out. So it's nice to have someone to talk to. Everyone else is in bed in my house, which is probably a good thing.
Yes.
Okay. So 7-Eleven. I'm gonna see about launching this thing. Let me put my camera on the screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yep.
And yourselves?
Ooh, there's so much going on.
Yeah, I got these things in the side here too that I need to send out as soon as I launch. So one thing at a time. Oh, okay. So I just need to make sure I know how to launch it. Here's a little preview of the campaign. Oh, so if you guys are patrons, or if you've joined the mailing list type thing, I'll send you out, especially patrons, I'll send you out special links. So don't get anything until you see those links, because they'll be discounted. Okay. And then there's also secret perks for people who joined early on the mailing list and stuff, who kind of confirmed that they would be supporting it. So those are discounted as well, just not as big as the patrons discount. So how do I start it now? There's some place where I gotta go to launch it.
Wish I could help, but I literally signed up on Indiegogo just for this campaign, so I know nothing about it so far.
Review and launch.
Ready to go live. So I lowered the goal a little bit. This isn't exactly what I need, but based on advice from friends, they're like, lower it just so that it, you can hit your goal faster, and then it gets in the algorithm better with Indiegogo. I don't know. But I need a little more than this to do what I want to do with it, with the printing that I want to do. So let's see. Fixed funding. I'm going to do it for 35 days. All right. Let's see if this works. All right. So if you guys want to share it, make sure to use the links under the campaign. Where are we at? Where to go? So if
I
we
see
go,
it. I'm on there now, and I just refreshed the page. It's live.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. I don't know what. Let me just go to my campaigns. So I want to make sure you guys, if you share it, like there's perks that if you use these share buttons right here, like it will generate your own code, especially if you log in. So make sure to log in and then use these share codes. And what I'm doing is I'm giving away stuff as add-ons and perks to people who share the most. So if people just convince one person to share to buy the campaign, and I mean the lowest tier is $50 because it's 2 books. So that's already a great amount of money coming towards the campaign. I'll give you like stickers, and then at $200, I'll do a signed print, and then $500 it's a piece of original art from the book, so one of the inked pages, and then the biggest contributor as far as sharing it and getting signups and sales will get a big piece of original art. And if you go down in the bottom of the campaign, you can see a little video I made right here, just talking about how you can contribute in that way. And it's just to try to motivate people to make reviews and YouTube videos and links to it on their Kickstarter campaigns and all that stuff. And so anyway, so there's that. So please, if you share it, before you share it, make sure you log in so you can use these, so you can get additional cool things. And that's the basics. That's the basics I got for you. Now I just need to send out links to you guys on Patreon. So let me figure that out. So here's what I'm going to send. So I guess I shouldn't show that on every. Let me get back to my face so I don't give away all this information.
Oh, Jason, there's some people saying that they're hearing some speaker reverb.
I wonder if that's my speaker. Okay. Give me 1 second.
Does anyone have the YouTube broadcast open?
You guys talk amongst yourselves. Keep it entertaining. And then I'll like try to figure out my speakers. Let me just switch to a different headphone.
So hi. Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Wait. Kind of. Copy. But you're on the East Coast, right? So it's 9:17 over here.
Yep.
So,
Nope, it's solid 7 and way early for me.
where are you located?
I'm over here in Idaho with Jason. So
Okay. Ooh, bright and early.
It's way early for me at 9:17. So.
Can you guys hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does it sound the same?
Sounds the same to us.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hopefully that solved it. Sounds a little better from my end, but I can't quite tell. All right. So what were you guys talking about? I missed it. All right.
Being awake. Yeah, I just happened to hop on my email and I was like, oh, this is all getting kicked off tomorrow. It's pretty much at 9 o'clock. Okay.
Not right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So cool. Page looks awesome.
Oh, thank you. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the order of the things I was going to do. And I guess I can't show it on the screen because then it will give away all the secret links. Let's see. Okay. Well, why don't you guys keep talking while I send off all this stuff? I can't do both at the same time.
You're fine. Well, so I was just going to ask what people were up to today because I was about to work on my comic until I saw this. So, but I'm just curious if anyone else is working on art today or what do you have in the books?
Well, after I'm properly awake later today, I'll be working on some stuff, comics I'm working with Jason already. So there's that, and I've been making a habit of streaming every day. So I've got some of my own character work I'll be doing later in the evening on Twitch. So
that's cool.
I intend to stream most of the day.
I'm actually going to have to get off in a couple of minutes here because I have to go to work. But then I will be coming home and doing some artwork and stuff for myself and for some clients. So it'll be a nice full day.
Work. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a graphic designer for a consumer electronics company. So nice. I go there and I work on layouts and web stuff and physical stuff. And then I come back here and I do all of my own artwork, which is busy, but fun.
Yeah. I've done that for a long time. And it still seems like it's busy even if you don't have that work. It seems like you load up yourself with more tasks than you would normally. I have the whole day, so I'll just give myself 400 things to do and then be discouraged if I don't get it done.
Yep. I've been trying to be better about being purposeful with rest time, putting times in my schedule book for just relaxing and doing something fun rather than having to fill it up with constantly working. Yeah. It's a challenge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I do the same thing, especially now. I really I try to have the weekends like where I don't do anything with work. And then I also like the office away from the house so that when I come home, I'm unplugged from work. I've tried to like pull the plug on a lot of social media so that I'm just like not always tapping into it so easily, you know? It's just hard to like remove yourself from it.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing, especially if after so long of doing it, you know? You can do it. Like you can be all in for so long. And then eventually you got to be like, okay, let's chill out a little bit. At least that's what it is for me. Okay, I sent out the patron email. So Patreons, however you pronounce it, go there. There's specific links where you get discounts on certain tiers, but you can't see all of them at once. So you just got to select the link, check it out, and select the other link. So, but there's like 3 or 4 links there for you. Now I'm going to send out a message to my mailing list.
You have a whole to-do list.
Yeah. Kickstarter's a lot different because they don't have the secret perks, and you don't have, I don't know, I'm also using BackerKit to do this pre-launch type thing, and that's been really helpful. But they don't have it set up for Indiegogo. They have it only set up mainly for Kickstarter. So in order to give people like secret links, it's like I'm kind of breaking their system a little bit. I just hope it still works. So let me get that one ready to go. Talk amongst yourselves again.
All right, I'm dropping off to head into the office. So good luck, Jason. I'll be joining you online later.
All right, thanks. See you, Young.
I'm going to have to go ahead and sign out too. I got to get to work, but good luck with the campaign. And I will
Thank
click
you.
all the links and share the other links and bring more people in. So
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yep.
See you
I'll
then.
be shooting a lot of links through. I've got a bunch of Discord servers that I've been in lately, so I'll be I
Nice.
have a bunch of people I can drop things on. So
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Adrian.
oh, good. I found the leave call button. All right. See y'all later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
yeah, I've got a couple of them that I've started to convert into fans around the time of Sithrah. So maybe we can snag 1 or 2 of them at least. So
Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm gonna test this email to make sure it works. You guys are seeing the boring behind the scenes. I can't, I can't entertain and stress out at the same time, apparently.
I think that's called just the life of an artist.
Sounds
Yeah.
about right. Well, the page looks really awesome.
Oh, good.
I like it.
Good. Oh, I need to actually make the YouTube video like not unlisted so that people can see it. Let me do that real quick. What's next? YouTube. Yeah, let me make this YouTube video public.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hectic next couple weeks because we'll be working on the comics, and I got a convention to run to in Pittsburgh in 2 weeks. Yay!
Really? You're gonna go there?
Run.
Yeah, I've been recommended to try out the Anthrocon furry convention, and I'm like, you know what? I just got my book all done, and I'm like, this is actually probably a prime opportunity to sell it to some of the people that are more interested in my world building and character design. So I'm like, you know what? I will go. But also it's like watching all the money go to a hotel and
Yeah.
flights, and then
Oh.
I've had it on Google Flights for tracked for the last few days, and I'm just watching it all of a sudden say, "Oh, guess what? The flight you just paid for went down $50 to $60 all of a sudden." And I'm just like,
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know I got ripped
Yeah.
off.
Oh man. How long is the convention? How many days?
it's going. I'll be gone for from the 4th through the 7th.
Okay.
So
3
yeah, it's
days.
mainly just the real 3 days, but and then 1 day is just for setup. But I'll be flying out. I'll probably have to drive down to Salt Lake and just stay overnight because my flight starts at 8 in the morning on the 3rd. And I don't know if I really want to try just getting up extra early and then driving down there and then dealing with flights. So, and then I'll be coming back on the 8th. So I'll be gone for about pretty much a week. It should be fun.
Ah, that does sound like fun. Is it just your book that you're selling, or is it other prints and artwork? And by the way, if I'm breaking up, let me know and I can speak a little slower.
No,
I know
you
my
sound
connection's pretty bad. Okay, good.
Nope, pretty solid. No, I've got prints that I'll be selling. I usually go to Salt Lake Comic Con and stuff too,
Mhm.
so I usually prepped with prints and whatnot. And I just got that done in time for the Spring Salt Lake a few months ago. So,
Yay.
I've got a pretty good variety of stock to throw out there.
That's great. Who do you print through?
I did Kablam comics for my books. So
Okay. Good experience overall?
yeah. Generally, as long as you give them 2 to 3 weeks to get a print order done for. I've only printed like in the orders of 50 at a time so far, but as long as you keep that range of time, they've been really good about it so far. And even when you kind of get down to the wire, they worked with me really well to get stuff ready in time for the convention the last time. So
How's the quality of the Kablam books?
Could you repeat that, Allison?
How's the quality of the Kablam books? I'm kind of curious about that.
it was really, really good. I'm extremely satisfied with them. It's a really nice, smooth, kind of a bit of a texture to the cover. Jason did it with Phobos too.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm pretty impressed with them. I really, really like the quality of the American sized comics, the interiors, and the interiors of the like American sized trade paperbacks. The manga has these beautiful covers, like the manga trades, because that's what I did Phobos with. And Adrian, your book was that way too. But the interior is not quite the same quality as the American size. I don't know why. It must be a different printer they're using. Different press that they have. But for the most part, like I'm super pleased with them. I don't do anything in color though either. So other than the covers, so I don't know what color interiors would look like, but I'm pretty impressed with them as a whole. Especially because it's super easy to set up, super easy to they help me fulfill the stuff, and it's just way easier than like doing a massive print run, So for the price, all the pieces together, I think make it very worth it. All right, I finally sent out the email to my mailing list. Took me what, half an hour? It was already pre-written too.
These tasks take longer than you think that they're going to take.
I had to double check 4 things 8 times.
That sounds about right. That's
Wait.
I've gone well past triple checking.
And let's see. I think there's something else I gotta do. Sorry, don't mind me. Keep
Adrian,
talking. Kablam.
are you bringing? I mean, obviously you're going to be bringing your stock with you, but like how are you doing that logistically? I'm curious because I've never flown to conventions. I've just done local stuff.
Well, this is going to be a first attempt with actually flying over. So I'm going to strategically pack. I'm trying to get it down to just 2 suitcases because I know I can get most of my stock so far into a single suitcase, and then my actual important clothes and all that into a different one. So I think if I can navigate everything to 2 suitcases and my carry-on, then it'll be good. I'm going to try and go for a reduced size display because I do use those modular cubes. And so I'm trying to figure out how to efficiently build a shorter display. I was going to get a vertical banner by this time, but I decided I've already spent a couple $1,000s between taxes and other stuff this month that I'm going to just go with my regular overhead banners and stuff that I've got. So I'm figuring out a smaller display, and most of my supplies, my prints and whatnot, fit in 2 small boxes.
Excuse me for a second.
No worries. Wow. Yeah, I forgot that's like, yeah, you have all the modular cubes and everything.
2 of these boxes worth have all my prints and books in them, and
Oh wow.
so
I
pack things tightly.
When I've gone to conventions, I have like a freaking caravan, behind my car. But then again, I can drive to them, so that you seem like you have pretty good system down.
Yeah, I mean, Salt Lake is only a couple hours away, so I know I can take whatever there. But I have planned just in case for the long distance ones, and I think it'll work out fine. And my paranoia will ensure that I will figure out some way to make it work at the last minute, if in any case.
It always comes together magically somehow.
I've just decided you're never actually ready for a convention, so you figure it out at the last minute ultimately.
Yeah, it's so true. And then of course, almost always, PayPal fails or Square can't connect to Wi-Fi, and it's just like the very last thing. But you figure it out, and people roll with it. People that go to conventions understand.
Yeah,
so.
the nice part is because for this type of convention, it's not as broad as the standard Comic-Con, so there aren't going to be as many people, but those same people that are going are going to be a lot more laser focused into what kinds of things are going to be getting. So, and I know that especially with my book, that should align pretty dang well. So it'll pretty much balance out. It might be fewer people, but far more interest than when you've got a broad amount of everyone coming for every single thing possible. So
yeah, that makes sense. I've there was a couple conventions I went to one year, and one was like a smaller fantasy convention, and then the other one was like a larger Comic-Con. And it was my first one at the fantasy, and I did pretty well. And people are like, "Oh, you'll do great at the Comic-Con, don't worry." But because it was so much larger and people would come there for everything, and there were a lot more vendors, I did all right. But I feel like I actually kind of squared off a corner of the market and had more of a little monopoly on certain things at the smaller convention. So it was interesting. It was interesting to see what did better and what was just okay. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I went to Wizard World in Boise when they started it so last year, and it kind of showed what happens if even they don't get their celebrity, if they get their celebrity aligned way too much in one direction, then a lot of a lot of the attendees will kind of focus more in that area. So if your content doesn't fall in that same zone, then you end up kind of losing out on that account too. So sometimes it also pays to notice what celebrities are being set to come to, because that also determines what attracts some people and what they're kind of going to focus around. I didn't think that was going to be the case when I first went, but after actually going there and seeing how things panned out, and most people just barely broke even in that case. But there was also a weird way of how they arranged the artist alley. They're like in the two rooms where one was way far off from the rest of everything else. And so that room really suffered for it. And the one I was in was good, but it was sectioned off from the vendor hall, which from the vendor hall led to the celebrity row. So it's like, and that's just the way the convention center was built. So, yeah. And it didn't survive to this year. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That location can get you every time. You know, you either do really well or you're shoved off in a corner and no one finds you.
That's why you build as high as you can get, so you as high as the center will permit, and so you tower over everyone else.
Maybe I could like brew some like amazing smelling tea, you know, and like appeal to their senses and be like, "What's that delicious smell?" Like, "Oh, look, it's the lark."
I would attract me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's been a little while since I've been to a convention, and part of the reason is that I've really been focusing on working my graphic novel, and a lot of my artwork that I've been selling is, 5 years old now. So it's good, but I'm kind of past that point. And it's also during a time where I was trying a lot of different mediums. I was exploring a lot of different subjects, so it's not very cohesive. So I have a little bit of fantasy and sci-fi and cartoons and children's books, and it's just a little like kaleidoscopic, and I feel like that kind of hurt me a little. So I'm waiting. I'm just like, you know what, it's not worth right now. I don't feel good selling my older artwork, so I'm just kind of waiting to work on my book and build more of a cohesive, unified subject area. But the last convention I was at was another comic convention, and again, I was doing all right, but I had someone watch my booth, and I just took a stroll around, and I looked at just to see who else was there. And true to my suspicions, pretty much every booth in the artist alley and even like in the vendor section, it was all about fan art. And I knew that, but I was really surprised to see there's maybe one other table selling original artwork, and I do mostly original artwork. Yeah. So I have to really kind of reconsider if it's the thing for me or if there's a better venue. And I don't know. So I'm working until then. So
yeah, I mean, fan art is kind of a given because it's something people are already familiar with. So they don't have to go through the mental loop of introducing themselves to your stuff right on the fly. And in a way, that's kind of like why I finally did my book, besides having all of my friends on me over it for the last number of years, because I'd keep on going, I'll get it done eventually. I've got too much other stuff. And then eventually I was just like, you know what, I'm going to section off like the first quarter of the year and just get it done. But the whole purpose of my book is that it's just an introduction to the world building I've been creating. So introduction to at least a subset of characters that at least I know I got most of the attention for in the first place, which admittedly comes at the cost of kind of pigeonholing me a little bit on there, despite having a whole legion of other stuff. But it's something that I know people are more interested in, so it makes a nice, easier entry point that they can start from, and then they can kind of develop more interest in and work from there. Because which also saved me the trouble of having to like go through a spiel about whatever characters I had prints of on my display. And so now I can just take the book and be like, so you can actually this and a whole bunch more and just get a whole gist of it. And yeah, it simplified it a lot in a way. So having something that's a nice entry point to the rest of your work really goes a long way, I think.
Yeah. The tricky thing, I would imagine, but I've not really sold a comic book at a convention, is until you open the book and really look through it, how are you going to get people over? And I've wondered, like, I wonder if it's possible if you could have like a little screen, kind of like a little PowerPoint even, you know, kind of going through the pages or at random showing some pages so someone could be like walking by and don't feel like they're committing by walking up, but then they see like a really cool page layout and be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's that book? Oh, I might as well open it. So
Yeah.
I had a book
then you have to have a TP with you.
I had a book solely based on the logo that somebody saw it from across New York Comic Con, came right to the table and bought it based solely on the logo because they saw it from so far away.
That's cool.
Can I borrow
That's called
your
really
logo?
good branding.
Wow. That's, yeah, seriously.
Yeah, conventions are tricky for me. I've debated like doing prints and stuff, and I've tried to do prints as kind of like different levels for different people and stuff. But at the end of the day, for me, it's always like if I don't want to get that kind of stuff myself, then I have a hard time creating it that in a way that's of value for customers, you know. So I ended up just like kind of abandoning everything except for the books, and the books sell too, so it you know it helps in that sense. But you know, there's times when I had plushies and T-shirts, and I was trying to develop all kinds of stuff, and I just don't think that's my personality. And I have friends that are really good at conventions, and Adrian, it seems like you're really good at them too.
I'm learning.
They have just massive amounts of stuff, you know, and they make a lot of money and they go to a lot of conventions, you know. But yeah, it just doesn't. I don't think that's why I got into this, was to be a salesman, you know. So, or a marketer, or a, you know, like product placement type person. So, and that's what a lot of conventions seem to be, you know.
The trick I ended up finding to getting people to at least take more of a look was and what my friend who I have come with me, we have slightly opposing perspectives on how to do it, but I usually just more carefully I usually just, you know, wave and say hi to whoever's passing by in general, just to be, you know, nice and approachable, but I don't try and drag them over. I watch for when they're actually, you know, taking that extra little second pause in their step and looking, and then I kind of try and trace wherever they're looking. I remember where particular things are on my display, so I can kind of get a view for whatever's catching their attention. And then if they stop for more than a few seconds, then I ask them, you know, it's like, what caught your eye, or something like that. And then I know I can engage them in a topic on that particular thing. And then I can kind of focus on, you know, just more of a conversation that leads to a sale than just kind of trying to nudge a sale from the get-go. So it's more organic, and you're kind of building more of a better social relationship with people that are coming by. And I think that develops better towards sales than just kind of explicitly going right for the sales idea. So I think it's more about just developing that conversation and just a good rapport with whomever. And
I agree.
But again, it's tricky. It doesn't work for everyone, and I find that just calling out and saying, "Hey, do you like this?" doesn't really. Sometimes it works, but not nearly as much if you go about it that way. So sometimes it's just being patient, just waiting to see where someone's looking and going based off of that. So
yeah. I like that. I like that approach, and I think it also puts you as a seller more at ease too. And you're like, we're just having a conversation. We're just shooting the breeze. Like, how's the convention? Is there anything fun out there? Anything crazy? Or if someone stops, I'll try to be like, let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to browse, just to let them know I'm here, not absent, but not, helicoptering over them.
Yeah.
It always seems that whenever I take, like for lunch though, I'm like ready to like have a little sandwich, like, hey, no one here, take a bite, and then someone comes up to the booth. I was like, oh, hi, 1 second. But it's the art. Conventions are
that's
fun.
why you have a buddy to diffuse it for you.
Or you just hide under your table and say, 1 moment. No, I think conventions are, I've only done a few, but I enjoy them for the social aspect. And it's really fun to see people in person responding to the art in different ways that I don't even see, or just, it's kind of like reminds me again the joy of when I make art and someone responds to it and it's like, yeah, that's what I feel too. So I like it for that aspect, but it's, it's tricky. Go ahead.
I would say a really fun thing that I found from it is it's also really good at kind of testing how efficient your designs are coming across. How I actually sometimes ask people if they really like certain characters I had on the prints that were mine. I would sometimes ask them, what do you think this character's personality is, or so on and so forth, and then at that point I could actually find out if I was actually doing a decent read on getting the general idea across just in the raw design without actually having to introduce them to the character properly. And so that also turned into just general feedback on my design ability in that way too. So
I agree.
It comes back to being a learning experience for yourself on what should I work on more in that aspect too. So so it's not just selling to them, it's also giving yourself more information on where to go next on things. And
yeah, totally.
Absolutely. I was surprised. It's also interesting to me to see what people respond to more as far as like what they gravitate or like or end up buying. And that's, that makes sense. But like I made fan art of TMNT one time and I'm like, these are going to be awesome. And I'll get, so many prints of each. And I sold a couple. And I was just like, what? Come on. But
that's a sobering rule.
It's just crazy. And of course, the thing that sold the most for me was like cats. And I only had like a couple prints and people were like, do you have more of this? And I'm like, well, I'm going to run to Office Depot and get a few more prints. So in an hour I will. But
that made me think, because I came to a kind of an epiphany about doing fan art, about what even within that will resonate more is not just the fact that you drew a character, but something, especially if it's like fan art of a game or whatever, or more of a scene or something that like they can relate to something in the activity kind of displayed, or like I had one little fan art I did from the game Spyro the Dragon, because I grew up with that game when I was like 9. And I drew specifically a little shot of Spyro chasing a thief, which for most players I know was one of the most annoying things, chasing thieves around the level, trying to get an egg from them. And I'm like, this brings back memories and specific feelings of rage and anger. And I know that other people probably felt the same way if they were fans. And so when I actually had a little print of that, that was actually a consistent talking point or something that would get people to stop. And it's like I remember doing that, and we would end up, and that would, yeah, just having something that triggers like memories, feelings, or whatnot too, not just the character themselves, goes a whole another step beyond.
Absolutely. Yeah, humor and that emotional connection will always rise to the top. It's fun.
All right. Can you guys hear me now? I'm trying different audio setups.
Yeah, I can hear you.
I hope it doesn't echo. I kept hearing an echo of myself, so I never would talk. Okay, I just finally opened up the chat too, and there's tons of people in the chat.
Yeah, I
So
just saw
thank you guys all for joining and participating. If anyone in the chat has a question, write question in bold or question in all caps, and then I'll know that it's for me. And let me refresh this page. Let me put my screen on screen share real quick, and I'll refresh this page to show everyone where we're at.
Oh, someone asked who my favorite turtle is.
Who your favorite turtle is? Oh, Ninja Turtle?
Yeah.
I think I like Donatello best.
You know, I like Donatello. I like him a lot. I do like Leonardo too.
Leonardo's good, yeah. They all have a special place in my heart.
Sorry, what was that?
They all have a special place in my heart. So, but I think
all four of them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
How about you, Adrian? What'd you say?
Michelangelo was mine. So
really, that's so cool. We all kind of have a different favorite. That's neat. How does that work? Like, how is that possible? They must have done a really good job at giving them good characteristics. Or maybe they're just so similar that anyone can kind of pick what they want based on the weapon.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always like, which weapon do you want? I like this one because he has swords.
Yeah. Well, this is
you can't go wrong with nunchucks.
Yes, you can. I've seen people hit themselves in the head.
Okay. We're not literally speaking.
Let's see. I'm trying to glean if there's any other questions tucked away in here.
Christopher Arnold is asking why you chose Indiegogo over like Kickstarter this time, pretty much.
Yes. Let me just set up my screen a little better. I chose it because comics have been doing really good on Indiegogo this last year, and so it just seems kind of like there's a big move for a lot of comic campaigns to go there. And so I was like, well, I might as well dive. This is a good time to dive into that pool, and especially before Sithrah is finished, because it'll motivate people who purchase Sithrah on Kickstarter to transition over, at least to test it. And so I could kind of grow the audience on Indiegogo easier than if I launched a brand new book there. And then I can also test the differences between the two. I've always heard about it, but I've never really understood really well. And I always learn the best by just trying something and participating in it. And then I'm like, yes, I fully get it now. I know exactly what the differences are. So, and I'll probably even make a video on it, I think, because I've realized there are some really cool things with Indiegogo that Kickstarter just doesn't have. And Kickstarter just doesn't really update that often. I mean, okay, they don't update their features, and so it's kind of really similar to what it was when it launched. Whereas Indiegogo's implementing a lot more kind of unique things that I like. So we'll see. I don't. At this point, I'm very pleased with Indiegogo. Obviously, it hasn't. Seeing how the people react and if people actually transition over from Kickstarter and Indiegogo for this is another thing. I did get an email, when I announced it, that sorry, I don't do Indiegogo campaigns. And I'm like, okay, well, you're not supporting Indiegogo, you're supporting me. But it's fine. I'm kind of the same way. I'm particular with what websites I do and don't want to go to. So we'll just have to wait and see if it was worth it or not. But I don't know how I'd compare if it was worth it, because this campaign's so unique compared to the rest of the Sithrah campaigns, because it's like the full thing and it's finished. And so anyway, we'll see. I'm still figuring it out. But so far it looks like it's going really good. When did I launch? 7:30? It's been a half an hour.
Yeah.
It's almost at $6,000. That's really ridiculous. So ridiculously good. So I'm not complaining.
Looks like you got another question about what about giving out print-on-demand links to save costs?
Oh, print-on-demand links? I could do that if I didn't care about the quality being the way I want it. You know, like these are really like collector's edition type books with cloth bindings and slip cases and all kinds of stuff, and really nice print quality, and you know, they're all offset printing and they're signature bound, and so you just can't imitate that kind of stuff with print on demand. So I could do that with like what I was doing with Phobos, and sell Phobos that way as a little soft cover, you know, with, you know, and just go with kind of the features that print on demand works best with. But with something like this and Remind and stuff, I really want it to be something that, you know, a bookstore will order it, and they'll be like comparing it to like their Scholastic books and stuff. And you can do that with soft covers. You can kind of trick people that way with soft covers, but not when it comes to like these like kind of higher quality books. It's really hard to imitate that and make it look the same and feel the same. You know, I mean, these books will last forever basically, because they're just really, really well made, and really, you know, it's as good a quality as I can get basically. And the price I'm selling it for is really, I mean, even with the discounts that I have right now, it's like, if you compare these to books in bookstores, it's like a $50 book that you would buy in a bookstore, and I'm selling them for like $25, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of reasons that the print on demand just wouldn't work for this. It'd be priced crazy too. Like there was a company that did print on demand hardcovers. I'm sure there are some more now, but and I tested them, and even their hardcovers was just, it's like it ended up being really expensive to make them, and then the quality just wasn't quite there. It's like kind of the lowest end of a hardcover you could get. So to test it, it's great, you know, or to just have something that's a real low print run, it's great. But in the case of what I'm trying to do, I just want to make these like amazing art quality, I mean, like artist edition type books. You know, that's what I want to collect. I don't want to collect the cheapest like floppy that can get out there to the public and then get thrown away, you know. So it's kind of the whole model that I started with, even the name Coffee Table Comics. You know, it's about having like a coffee table book that happens to be a comic, you know. So anyway, that's that. So
No,
go ahead, Jessica.
I was just saying I agree with that, and the fact that it's something you can treasure for a long time, and it's good quality content in the story that you will read again and again. So it's worth having in a really quality binding as well. So
yeah, I think so too.
Comics.
Yeah, and ever since I put out Remind, that first Remind hardcover, it just really confirmed it for me. Because, you know, up until that point, I was really just, it was a guess. It was like, this is what I think the comic industry needs. This is what I think I need to do with my books, how I need to publish. And it was a lot of like assumptions and I just didn't know if anyone would feel the same way as I did. And so, but then once I put out that first Remind book, it just was like, it was very obvious. Like this is what people want, especially as an independent artist publishing yourself. And then I did the tests with Remind, like printing them as soft covers, and it was a good lesson. But I don't think I'm ever going to do it again for my main books. Like I'll do it for like Phobos for patrons, like things behind paywalls and stuff prior to getting the official release out. But I think I'm going to stick with hardcovers from now on, just because it's exactly what I want, and I enjoy it still. I still pick up Remind 1 and flip through it and enjoy it and go, this is exactly what I wanted it to be, And I wish there was more books like this, So.
And I think the trend is starting to go that way slowly. But not only that, but the quality of the book itself, what's made out of, really adds more value.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you look at the same book, one made each way, and in your mind, you just feel like this has more value and almost is worth more, is worth the read. It has to be good. So it has a little bit of that too.
Yeah. It's, like there's so many channels to be able to put content out there now, especially with the internet, like web comics and stuff. I just figured like web comics and digital releases are kind of like the mass market trade paperback now. And so anyone can consume it in almost any way they want, but for the people who want to actually buy it and have a hard copy of it, I want it to be more than just the minimum, because you can get it as a minimum any other way. You can get it on Comixology. You can just go to Webtoons and read Sithrah, on your phone. But yeah, I think when people collect it, they want to collect it,
Yeah, and like you said, we have so much digital content, and it's great and it's needed, and I love it. Though I do see even something like people, these days picking up like a Polaroid camera because they want to have something tactile to hold in their hands, and that's what I still think the print book has that value, and it's something people can own and hold in their hands, and there's something important to that. They almost feel like they're now a part of it rather than separated.
Yeah, totally. I kind of compare it, this might be a dumb analogy, but I kind of compare it to like someone having a 3D model of Michelangelo sculpture on their computer that they can rotate and study every nuance versus having the actual sculpture in your house. Like it's two completely different things.
Yeah. It's something satisfying about it.
Yeah. So there's something neat about, sorry, my chair is so squeaky. Anyway, something neat about having the nice collector's edition book, or just a nice book. It doesn't have to be like the signed exclusive type thing, but just something really nice that you can keep forever. Is kind of what my goal is. I want it to last forever, for as long as someone keeps it nice. Obviously, one day it'll disintegrate.
One day a kid will get a hold of it.
Yeah. Hey Matthew, I see you in here. Welcome. And I haven't heard you speak yet, but welcome. You're more than welcome to chime in.
And also to anyone listening in the chat, I think Nick already put a little note in there, but if you want to ask a question, make sure you put in bold, all caps question, so that way if we're skimming through and we can catch it for sure.
Yeah. I see one by Christopher Arnold. Now that Sithrah is concluding, what's next? Well, I'll probably work on Phobos and try to get a 500-page volume of that ready to go early next year. And depending on how that first volume goes, that will determine my next actions. So that's the plan. I also need to finish Shapes Up, which is a comic I've been commissioned to work on. And Adrian's helping me. And just if you guys don't know, Adrian is he's my coloring background expert, assistant. I don't know. You're like filling in all the gaps that I need help with. He edits videos. He he lives here, like not with me, but he's in the same town as the same small town, and he actually has been like the perfect helper with all of my projects. He worked on these Sithrah books 5 and 6, helped with a lot of background creation, like taking the 3D models in the background of especially book 5. We had that huge scene, and he I started out just saying, can you like paint over these and make them look like part of the background? And he did such a great job that I started saying, can you try to color it now? And he did a great job. And I was like, can you do the textures too? And he did a great job with that. So about half the pages have Adrian's fingerprints all over them in these books. And so, yeah. Just
hello.
Wondering who Adrian is. Hello. Who's that?
Oh,
Matthew.
This is Matthew.
Matthew, welcome.
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Finally able to get the mic to work.
I know exactly how you feel.
That was me yesterday, so
Yeah. I've never done one of these hangouts or group chat things, so kind of news for me here.
Well, you're doing good.
No worries. It's a bit of a learning curve trying to get everything to play nicely with each other.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got this tiny little mic. That's really, I have it attached to the bottom end of my Cintiq right here. Oh, I found it's the one convenient place I can actually put it and make it work out right.
Nice.
Well, I have too many options, so every time I plug in my computer, it's like doing something that I don't remember doing last time. Because I try to do music, and so I have a different input for that, and it's like I don't know why I just can't figure it out every single time I try to get on this computer to do any sort of sound. But I don't know why I'm talking about that. Hey, so let me just go over this campaign with everyone who's watching live, if no one's seen it. So this is the campaign. Welcome, you guys. It just launched, and I want to make sure you guys use when you sign in, use the share links here so that you can win original art and like prints that are signed. It's the only way you're gonna get those kind of things added to your reward is if you share it and generate cells. So it's kind of a new experiment I'm trying to do with this campaign. I can basically see exactly in the back end who shared and how many people have backed it and how much money they've raised based on their unique links. So it's important that you log in and use those links if you want to win extra stuff. I'm planning on doing stretch goals, but I'm planning on doing it based on backer number, because I'm not as concerned about how much I raise as I am about selling out as many of the old books as I possibly can. So my goal is to try to get 1,500 backers at least. Now that's crazy because it's more than I've ever gotten, but I think it's possible, especially if people help by sharing it. And what that will do is it'll help me sell out all the old books. And all the old books in this campaign are 50% off. So books 1 through 4, the prices that you see are with that discount built into them. So this is kind of the cheapest way you'll ever probably get these books. And if we do sell out, then that's it. So that's just another thing I want to make sure people understand. If the numbers start getting up there high, backer numbers, then this might be the only way to get these books. because I don't want to. I don't have the funds to reprint books 1 through 4 because each book costs like $11 to $12 or $13,000 to print at the quality that they are at. So anyway, just to make sure you guys are aware of that. I think this is the best deal ever. $99 for all 6 books. So if you want to get it, the whole complete set, and you haven't, or maybe you've only gotten one of the books, this is like ripping me off right here. So, but I think it's totally the best deal I'll probably ever have. And then obviously there's slipcase versions. There's signed and you get your name in the books and all that stuff. There's your drawing put into the book, and then ridiculous tears. So what else do I want to say? So yeah, here's a link down at the very bottom for how to share it too, in case it's still confusing. And you can win original art like this and stuff for just sharing the campaign. So yeah, so there you go. I'm just hoping that people like purchase books, and if they share it, that's when I'll give them like inked pages and all that stuff. So thanks for letting me do my spiel. Welcome, Ruben.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
How's the campaign going?
Oh, it's
1 hour.
it's going really good. Let me refresh it and see where we're at now.
Thank you.
I just bought the
Sorry?
I just bought the pack, the box of 1 to 6
Oh,
because
Hey,
I
Can I
I will.
apologize for the shipping? I mean,
Oh.
there's just nothing I can do. I just so people are aware too, like
It's
the
okay.
last campaign I used a shipping company in the UK to handle all the international orders. And yeah, the price was lower, but it was so much work on my end to get all the old stock there and keep it organized and do it the way they wanted. And then the books got lost, and then it's like nothing worked smoothly at all. And they were delivered like 6 months late. And so I just was like, you know what, this isn't worth it for me. And there's too many books here. Like I would have to ship so much over to them to fulfill. The other option would be they fulfill the new books and then I ship the old books, but then it would be double the shipping practically.
No way. Logistics is always
yeah.
not
So I'm trying to just have an additional perk. It's maybe not very clear in the campaign, but it's in the note in the commonly asked questions that I want to throw in like a signed print into all the international orders, just kind of as a thank you and to make up for the horrible shipping costs.
It costs almost the same that the 6 books, but it's okay.
Yeah. So, and the books are so discounted too that I figure, well, okay, I guess people can, and I'm not even charging the full shipping price that I was quoted. I'm still knocking like $5 to $10 off depending on what it is. Well, and that doesn't count packaging and boxes and all that stuff. So
even though I made the calculations, how much it cost all the books.
Yeah.
And purchasing all 1 to 4 on Amazon. So I make the calculation, and it's you have a minor price.
Yeah.
Right now, so it's
Yeah, I'm really trying to just
a good deal, man.
Old ones, yeah. Like books 1 through 4, I have them at 50% off, and shipping in the United States is pretty small.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. I think it's $10 or so.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
It's like 7 or 10 depending on what you get. So I just, and that's what it would cost me. I'll use media mail. I pack it really good so that they don't get damaged or lost.
Oh, Jason, it came to my home.
Ooh, nice.
It's beautiful.
I barely just got my package. So
yeah.
I was like the last one that got it.
It's awesome, dude.
Here, let me put the camera on you so that people can see it.
Yeah.
So this is the second issue of Phobos that I just delivered that we did on print on demand. and sent out to patrons.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you, man.
It's really nice, and it's
Yeah,
really
it's really good stuff.
yeah, it's really well cut. So it came to Spain in optimal condition. So
Yeah, those pages are fun.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Are you
Adrian helped me with those too. A lot of those on book 2. He did about half of those coloring, maybe more.
About the latter half of book 2, mostly, I think.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Are you still sending out the first one of Phobos?
Sorry?
Are you still sending out the first Phobos?
Oh yeah, I just barely got my package. What I did was I had number 1 sent to me, and then I'll send those out. Number 2, they sent directly to people. And I don't remember the exact reason why I did that. I think it complicated the order, and I didn't know how to actually set it up that way. And so I was like, I'll just get it myself and send it out. But I just barely got them. So, and I think there's only like 10 orders of Phobos 1 that I need to send out. So that's why I decided to do it myself. But yeah, so I'll get it to you. Sorry.
No, I mean, clearly you're just sitting around doing nothing. So
They were sitting there on my desk. There were stacks of them on my desk yesterday, and I was like, I could do that, but I'm too stressed out about this, so I'll wait.
it was funny though, because I saw it come to the door and I was like, oh, this is fun. And I was like, I should probably wait until I read the first one.
Yeah.
I opened up and like read it to the end. Like, well, I'll read the first one after.
Yeah, yeah, it's a slow. Speaking of Phobos, it's like I really enjoy it because it's a nice slow build, and you're still just getting into who the characters are, and I think when my plan is to launch a campaign for the first 5 issues early next year, and it will be about 500 pages, and that would be a nice kind of arc that kind of shows all the characters. It introduces everyone. It kind of shows the first like confrontation, and it finishes that confrontation. And but part of the reason I don't want to release it as like these little thin chapters to the general public is because it's just like I don't think there's enough content there, So anyway, what I'm just saying is it's I really like the pacing of it because it's nice and slow, but it just builds nicely, and I don't know, it's just really fun for me to work on. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it, even though it's coming in small chunks.
I like that though, because it seems like a good way of pacing, and instead of doing the whole thing and really pouring your heart into it, in that expansive waiting to hear any feedback, that could just take a really long time. So it's kind of nice that you have little breathers in between and get recharged.
That's true. And what it does for me is that I really like seeing the printed product, and it's nice to see what it looks like printed before I go to the big print, the offset printer with the hardcover signature bound on nice paper. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so it's a good, and there's mistakes in it. You guys have emailed me like, you have a typo here and there. And I'm like, okay, that's good. I need all that feedback before we do the official thing.
I try to catch some of them along the way as I get them.
Yeah. Adrian fixes them and I don't even know it. Yeah. So, and before I go to print, I think I'll be reworking the word balloons and the words just a little bit. Probably not quite as far as I went with Sithrah. And just so you guys know, Nick Welch is the one who's been helping me with all the lettering on Sithrah 5 and 6. And he's been doing a killer job on it. He's like taking it to a whole nother level. So I'm really excited to show you guys that, because it's like everything that's been shown so far online is just like the bare bones lettering, and Nick has kind of taken it and just pushed it to the extreme now. So
really cool.
When you get these, you'll be, I think, pleasantly surprised with just how much a notch up it is from the online version. So, yeah, it's exciting. I can't wait to have it all done.
It kills me. Both my parents have been asking constantly when they're going to be able to get it. So
yeah, a lot of people it's in the libraries here. We've given copies to all the libraries, so I keep having kids being like, "Would you have Sithrah 5?" You know, I'm like, "Just wait, patience. You'll get 5 and 6 very soon." You know, so yeah, it's neat. It's neat to have it finally come to a conclusion like this. Dang, 9,000.
I was gonna say, is it also pretty bittersweet? Like, are you gonna miss it, or are you right now just being like, no, just get it done?
No, I think I'm really content with how it turned out, and I'm glad it's wrapped up, and I'm definitely ready to move on. You know, I mean, it's about 1,000 pages, so it's like, you know, I've put in my work on it, and I don't miss working on it, but yeah, it's not. I don't know how to say it. It's like Remind. You know, I've never really wanted to go back and just dive back into Remind too much. At some point I want to do a new chapter for it, but I really want to make sure that I really want to dive into it. So I need to kind of clear some other things off my plate first, and then I might be able to dive back into that style and world and technique and approach, and do another chapter for it. Yeah, once I get a book done, it's just like I'm done, you know, and it's a good feeling, you know. You're like, and there's a time period where you just don't want to pick it up and look at it at all, you know. And I think that's why it took me so long to get this last campaign done, and that's why like Nick Welch helped me with the lettering and stuff, is because I was just like, I put so much into it that I was just like, I'm done. I need to move on. I need to start something else. I need to take a break, whatever it is. And so I really haven't like looked at it a lot for, well, I guess it's been about a year now since I finished it on Webtoons. A little more than a year. Is that right?
yeah, it was like February, March.
Yeah, February.
Late February, early March. Something like
so
that.
Yeah, it's been over a year, and now I'm finally going, okay, I'm gonna jump back into these pages and tighten things up, and you know, help Nick with the lettering or whatever, get it into InDesign. I'm finally back into like, you know, I did the cover for it, and you know, it's like, but it took some time before I was like, I want to think about this again, and yeah, but it's nice. I don't want to go back to things very much. Like,
How long have you been working on the whole series, all the books in total?
Say that again. Sorry.
How long have you been working on the whole series, all the books in total?
All books. I wrote the story for Sithrah, like the general story, probably 20 years ago now. Well, yeah, 15 to 20 years ago.
A lot.
and then I just put it away because I didn't know what I'd do with it, but I really wanted to tell the story. So it was just kind of mostly written and sitting there on my computer for I think 15 years. And then in 2014 is when I remember January of 2014 is when I just was like, I'm going to start it. It's time. You know, I'd taken a break after Remind, and I just dove into it. And I was still at DreamWorks. I didn't really have a super good game plan, but I was like, I'll just do as much as I can on the side of DreamWorks and put out one book a year. That was my goal at the start. One book a year, whatever I have, even if half of it's just sketches, just to keep in the game. And that's why that first book was so short compared to the rest. And then once I moved and once Webtoons started, I started churning out like the equivalent of like 2 books a year. And so I just couldn't I couldn't publish them fast enough. And so it ended up taking from that time, about 5 years, I guess. 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So I guess beginning of 2018. So yeah, before 4 to 5 years. Man, I'm horrible with math. So, yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of books, so it's 1,000 pages, whereas Remind was 300 pages about, and that one took me 7 years. So this was like a pretty amazing accomplishment. Once I moved here to Idaho, I was just like crushing through the pages. I look back now and I'm like, how did I do that? Like, I don't think I could do that going forward.
Yeah.
I definitely, Webtoons was a big factor in that, just pushing me to keep executing and getting things done, even though I'm not like 100% satisfied with it. And that's why I want to make these books 100%, now. Like, it wasn't 100% before, but now I want it to be 100% satisfying. So, yeah. So Webtoons had a lot of, gave me a lot of fire to get it done, but going forward, I want to do things at the right speed. I think I don't want to make it to where I hate working on this stuff, and I don't want to make it to where I hurt myself working on this stuff.
Life's more important than that.
Yeah, like my eyes, I can't stare at a computer or something up close for all for 10 hours anymore. I just can't. I used to be able to do that, but
glasses.
I just can't anymore. Yeah, and
the other thing.
Even with glasses, my eyes start just hurting after a while. So I'm like, I gotta just pace myself. I can go really fast, so why don't I just go really fast for a short period of time, and then we're good, every day.
I find that sweet spot of staying on it and policing yourself to make sure you get it done, but not killing yourself and not losing sleep and neglecting everyone. It's tricky, that's for certain. I don't know if I could have ever done anything where Webtoons said, like, you have to do this in this amount of time. I'd be like,
you never know when you actually get put in the situation.
Yeah. It really, it's like, it's good to have some experience with deadlines as an artist prior to Webtoons. And the problem, I think a lot of times people come into Webtoons with no experience and they get offers, and then it just crushes them because they don't have any of that experience with working with clients and and understanding what is reasonable for an extended amount of time as well. You can crush it for a week, but then how do you keep crushing it every week, even through holidays and everything? Like, it's really a tricky situation. So, I mean, that's why a lot of people on Webtoons just have these really simple styles, and it's smart to do that, but it's also just not the style I want to do,
Yeah, if I ever go that route, I realize I'm like, I have to finish it first, or at least have 75% done. But
even so, I had a project that I was debating on doing next between it and Phobos, and I pitched it to Webtoons. I also pitched Phobos, and my contact there, David, he actually liked the other one that I came up with. And so I was like, okay, well, this is before Sithrah had ended. And so I was like, okay, good. I know what to do next. And so I started working on it, and I was like, okay, my plan is I need to make 6 months to a year's worth of content before I launch on Webtoons, because otherwise it'll just be too, it'll mess up my ability to tell that story correctly. And so I started writing it, and I got like 4 episodes written, and I was really happy with it. And then I was just thinking, even if I get it all done, even if I get a year's worth of work done, I still think I would stress out under the Webtoons type contract and deal and speed and all that stuff, because it's not like I'll get it all completely done. There'll still be things to do weekly. And so it just kind of made me kind of pull back from it all. And I haven't really looked back since. I would just much rather do this, where I like have a campaign. The goal here, just to be completely honest, the goal here is to overfund on this campaign so that I have enough money to pay the bills for like a year, and I only need like 30,000 over to pay bills, you know, for a year, because I live in Idaho, and then I can just be working on the next book with that money, you know, pay myself out every month, and then get the next book done before that money runs out and do the same thing. You know what I'm saying? That's the ultimate goal that I have for an ideal world for me making comics would be that. Instead of like trying to like pull money out of patrons every month, instead of trying to pull money out of, you know, random jobs every month to pay the bills, that would give me the peace of mind, I think, to make the right kind of content and the right kind of choices with storytelling. Otherwise, it's all geared towards what's going to get those clicks right now. You know, all my decision making is how can I drum up the money right now? Okay, I need to do this because that makes the money right now. When the important thing is telling that nice, big, chunky story that has that purpose that you want it to have. You know, so that's been the hard balance that I've been trying to understand how that would work, you know, as an independent comic creator, you know.
But now you have, I mean, over time, as you know, gain an audience and establish rapport, you have a good base for that.
There's definitely a good base. The problem is I don't want to launch a campaign before with an idea and then use that campaign money to pay me to make the idea. That's what a lot of people are doing. Like Doug Tenaple's doing that with his Earthworm Jim comic, and he's like crushing through the pages, but it's like a crazy deadline, and I don't think I could work that way. I think I would crumble under that kind of weight.
Yeah,
seems like he's used to it though. But see, this is all done. Yeah, and so what I want to do, or like Jake Parker did it as well with Skyheart, you know, he raised the funds and then he used the funds to pay him. But then there was unexpected things that happened that made it difficult. I think the ideal thing is to finish the thing and then raise the funds for it, you know, instead of asking for people to give you money to pay for the production. That would be ideal in my mind. That's ideal because it takes all the stress off of this giant debt you owe people in getting it done, and hoping my hand doesn't cramp up, and hoping my eyes don't burn out, and hoping my wife doesn't get mad at me for a month. You know what I'm saying? Like there's all these factors in getting the work done that I can't control. You know, we might get in a car wreck or whatever, you know, you just never know. And so having the ability to make the work first and then collect the money later and then have that money pay for the next work, that's ideal, at least based on everything I've thought about and, you know, all the different situations of trying to do this. That seems to be the best. And so it just means, you know, you have to sacrifice up front with those first books. But I think that we need to do that. I think as artists, you know, it's just like learning your craft. You have to sacrifice up front time just practicing before you can be any good at and ever expect to get any money from anything. So it's kind of the same with these books, I think.
Is that what you did for Reminds?
Kind of, yeah.
Did you complete it all? And then
it was about 80% done, I think, when I launched it. But I knew I was going to finish it because I had the webtoon, the web comic schedule, and so I kind of knew the speed of when it would be getting done. And so yeah, a lot of it was online when I launched that first campaign, and then it was just wrapping things up once the campaign was done. And then book 2, I kind of jumped the gun on that one and launched it a little earlier than I should have, I think. but it did so well that I was able to take time off work to finish it. You know, I took like a month and a half off work.
Oh yeah.
And that was when I was living in LA. So it was a lot more expensive to take time off work there. So, yeah. But, you know, I'd worked on Remind as an animation for 7 years prior to the graphic novel as well. So, and that was all just to try to learn and, you know, start telling my own stories, learn how to animate, learn how to direct animation. And, you know, it all ended up contributing to my career and getting new jobs and all that stuff. But, you know, you got to put in that work first to kind of prove that you are able to do it, you know? So.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now, is I still have my stories outlined, pretty much written, but I'm trying to figure out how much I really want to, if I want to complete it all and then just release it in bits, or if I want to get like a really hefty head start, and if it would be beneficial to have some response back and just feel like, you know, like otherwise I'm just kind of working in a cave on this all by myself, not sharing it with anyone. Some response is nice, but at the same time, it can also be a really pretty big influencer, and it could be distracting as well.
I think you should get as much done as you can in a cave, especially for your first work. I mean, and people might tell you the opposite because, you know, because you're lessening your chances of it getting picked up and all that stuff. But the thing is, the thing that you're trying to accomplish right now is figuring out your voice and telling your own story and doing something that you would want to pick up and you would want to find. You know, if you're too worried about everything else that studios want and everything, you're just not going to figure that out. And plus it's your first work, you know, like no one ever, I mean, there's outliers, but it's rare that someone's going to have their first work be the best thing they've ever done, you know? So put in the time to develop your skills as a writer and artist and storyteller and comic publisher or whatever it is. And I'd do as much of it as you can before you start getting advice. And you can listen to some of the advice, but I think it's best when you start showing people what you've created and what you're inspired to create. You'll start getting a team of people who want the same thing as you want, which is your story the way you did it to be the best it can be. And so the advice will start being better advice than just, hey, I have an idea. What do you think I should do? People can give you advice that would go stretch across the board for that kind of situation. But once you have something that's pretty close to done, you know, and people get excited about it, if they connect to it, then suddenly that advice is a little bit better because they're giving you advice that actually would help it go the way you want to go, right?
Absolutely.
So I would suggest that. Otherwise, you're just going to start playing the game. Might as well just be a freelancer, you know. Might as well just go figure out what everyone else wants and get the jobs and do the jobs for money. You know, if you want everyone's advice and everyone to tell you what to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, there's a sweetness to being able to kind of cave myself in and just enjoy the process of making this book.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really precious thing, and it's, yeah. So I mean, I am enjoying that. I just look down the road and being like, oh, does this mean I'll be in a cave for 2 years?
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
I'll just do what I can today, and
yeah. And the first book is it really is like just being in a tunnel, in the middle of a tunnel. I've explained it as, where it's like all you see is a pinpoint of light in front of you and a pinpoint of light behind you. And you're like, either way I go, I'm going to be in this tunnel for a long time. I can't go back because then I'll have all this work that I did that's just wasted. And I could pretend it doesn't exist anymore. But then I'll have this weight on my shoulders of this project that I put all this time into and never finished. Or I could keep going forward. And I know how much work that's going to take because I spent all this time already, you know. and you don't see any rewards yet. You don't see any benefits yet. The only thing you see is like maybe your personal growth as an artist or pages that you're pleased with, you know. So yeah, that first book is really, it's really that's when you got to wrestle with yourself the most, I think.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that too, and I think my solution is probably working on a bunch of smaller things first before actually diving into a large one. Yeah, probably like do practice with a few 20-page little short series and then dive into the main thing. Because if I go right into the first big thing, I know I'm going to be looking at like, this must be the thing. And that the inevitable, oh, there's a whole ton of ways I could have done this better. I'd like to knock out at least a good number of those feelings first before I go in.
I think you're.
Of course, it's also brainstorming what ideas to go with, and actually pinning down a few. So.
And you're right about like the short projects too. Like, I kind of, for a long time, I was always given advice based on like Remind being my first book, but when I started digging through my old stuff, I realized I've done probably 400 pages of random comics submissions or short stories or little projects that someone else wrote or whatever. You know, I have hundreds of pages, and then I worked in storyboards for years, and then I worked in animation, and then I worked at DreamWorks, and then I finally started working on Remind, you know? So I'm kind of like, I think I'm saying the wrong advice if I give people advice as if Remind was the first thing I did, because there's a lot of training that goes into that needs to take place before you can launch that epic, I think, you know? Because
I completely agree with that.
Yeah. Because I think the first bigger thing I did was Phobos back when I was in high school. I'd already done quite a bit of comic stuff, but even that, you know, if for anyone who has that original Phobos or the collected version that has the first 4 issues, it's like that's after I had combed over it, you know, years and years later and touched up things and redid the font and rewrote parts of it and added new panels. It's like it really was a stupid, broken story that just was ugly looking and had a lot of problems. And so it's like, you know, there's like the Phobos that I have now is like night and day different. You know, it may not have captured the teenager spirit that I had at the time of like, just, you know, let's throw everything at this, whatever's cool and funny and stupid, and it doesn't have to make sense. You know, there's some really interesting things that happen because of that dynamic, but I wouldn't want to read the old Phobos, but I really am excited about the new Phobos, you know. But the reason the new one's good is because the years of jobs and experience and working in different art fields and animation, and you know what I'm saying? And the confidence has grown and the abilities have grown. So it's just not something that happens overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
people
you know that actually
kind of want it to happen overnight, you know, but this is the beginning of your career, you know, not just you, Jessica, but anyone who's coming out of the gate making a webcomic. It's like, this is the first thing you're doing, you know, like you have 40 years ahead of you of making stuff. What's your stuff going to look like 20 years from now, you know?
Yeah.
So
it's the long game.
Yeah.
Well, that just reminded me.
Go ahead.
After you started saying that about Phobos, I just remembered we had to write our own little 10 to 15 page manga as an assignment back in Japanese class towards the end of the year. And I still have a couple of the pages still sitting around, somehow surviving on this computer. And I had actually looked at them before, and some of the characters I introduced way back then have been consistently retooled until current times by the time I wrote this art book. And the difference of the ideas back then, of course, are night and day. But I wouldn't have made some of those corrections or steps if I hadn't done those little things way back then. So
Yeah.
And it sometimes just takes those years to let it sit on the back burner and stew and marinate for a while and until it really is ready to make.
Yeah, I agree. And like I'll get ideas all the time for random things, and I'll just keep adding them to different folders and of like, oh, this might work with this story. I don't think there's ever going to be a point when I have to just, well, maybe not. For my personal work, where I have to just like write a story and I come up with it one week and I design the characters the next, and then I start executing it and telling the story. It's always going to be something that has been years and years, maybe decades in development in my mind, or characters from that I thought up a long time ago, or inspired by something that I was like, I want to do something on that eventually. I say with my personal books because I actually did do that with Shapes. Like I was presented with an idea, a loose concept, and then it's like, write this, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. And then okay, let's try it, and then sure enough, I can do that. And then let's design the characters on the fly. So Shapes has been a really interesting experiment for me, and it's kind of given me a little bit more confidence that okay, if I have to, I can just pull this stuff out of thin air and still make it meaningful. But that's only come with because of the years of building up the experience and training and understanding, I think, to be able to actually do that. So anyway.
Thoughtful, huh?
Yes. It's so hard to like act normal for me right now.
On that note, I actually probably should bow out because I do need to get some work done.
Sounds good.
But thanks so much. This is fun, and I'll go ahead and back your project. I'm excited. And it'll do great.
Thank you, Jessica. Woo-hoo.
See you guys. Thanks for chatting.
See you, Jess.
See ya.
Have a good one.
See ya.
I'll probably hang out for another 15 minutes because I'll have to eat breakfast, and then I'm gonna jump on Doug's show.
I'm gonna crawl into bed in 15 minutes and take a nap.
Yeah,
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah. Well, good. We'll sign off at the same time then. Let me refresh this campaign and see where we're at. Oh, this is so nerve-wracking. 11,600. It's going really good. I think that's... Well, I have 2 books to sell instead of 1, so obviously that's why it's climbing faster than it has before. The question is, when will it die down? Excuse me.
Is it already over 11,000?
Yeah, it's over 11,000.
Over 11,000, yeah. 11,600.
Oh.
It doesn't refresh automatically, so I gotta always refresh.
Yeah, you're hauling. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so you're almost halfway there.
Oh, yeah.
Getting closer, yeah.
No, I'm excited for you. Awesome.
All right, well, let's see. Is there anything else in the chat we should talk about? You guys want to change subjects?
There was a fun question in there. Let me get back to it. So you and Studio X or streaming service Y agree to a live action film with Sithrah. Who would you like to see play your characters, or would you want that at all?
Oh man,
it's a hypothetical.
I don't know. I don't even think about movie stars and actors. I have no idea. I have never assigned like any sort of like actor to a character when I've made them. It's more like I'm more inspired by like other art and other comic artists and stuff like that. I'd be more curious what other people would would think as far as who would play what roles right. And then it might, and it's a good thing that I'm done with this. Otherwise, it might start influencing how I draw them and think about them too. So this is totally premature, but there is a chance that Reminder Sithrah has some interest now with animation. So, you never know until anything's actually really greenlit or coming out. But apparently some people are interested in it. So, or them. So that's kind of exciting. But I don't have any information because I don't know. I've just through contacts. Question from Always Sunny. When does the campaign RND again? End again? It ends in 36 days. Yes, that's a stupid number, but it's 36 days. It will be Thursday. When is that? Thursday, I don't even know. Towards the end of next month on a Thursday.
Math.
Quick.
So yeah, I gave it a little more time this time than normal, just because it's on a new platform. It's on Indiegogo, and I wanted to make sure that people don't miss it, because the last time so many people emailed me, oh, I was on vacation for the 3 weeks that your campaign was on, or what something, I just missed it because, I didn't promote it enough, or they just didn't know it was happening. So I have a lot of promotional stuff that's going to come out this month. I don't know if you guys know Austin Shirtliff. He's been helping me build a bunch of promotional art and get a bunch of art ready for Instagram. So we're going to start feeding that beast pretty soon. And I have videos scheduled to come out almost every day of the campaign, that are on multiple different subjects or live streams or whatever. And I'll be advertising the campaign for that. So that's been interesting. If if people don't know about this one, then I'll be surprised, basically. Because
I got you all the rest of those videos in, so nice. you have material.
Yes, I uploaded a bunch of them that you had in there yesterday, so I appreciate that. Yeah, just so you guys know, Adrian's been editing all the live stream Q&A videos. I have another friend who's been doing a couple too, but yeah, a lot of those have been done by, almost all of them have been done by Adrian. So
I think we're on number 39.
39 videos.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. He's a monster. Okay, 5 more minutes and then we'll pull the plug on this live stream. Anyone else got something to say? Hey Bob, how you doing? You didn't say hi yet.
My mic is trashed. Can you hear it at all?
I can.
Oh my God. This whole time I've been like, it's not working because it shows a big slashed out thing on the screen. You'd think I was 100 years old and this is my first look at a computer.
Oh, hey, join the crowd.
You're doing good.
Well, congratulations on the good start. I mean, you're already ripping into it. I have backed because I'm excited about it. So.
Yeah. I'm hoping that people, I mean, I know that there's a lot of like secret links out there through Patreon and the mailing list. So I'm hoping that people are kind of like trying to figure it out. And then I'm hoping people actually use the links to share it, and that there's some motivation to share it or make review videos or something like that. Because I think that's going to be the momentum that keeps it going, or the thing that keeps the momentum. At least I'm hoping.
We got a question.
Okay.
It says, has your mailing list still been a big component to your campaign? So.
Yeah, it's a little different this time. YouTube has been such a big player in generating new traffic that I've focused crazy amounts of time on on building YouTube content for this month. And
That's where I came from.
That's where you came from?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, from YouTube as well.
YouTube, okay. Well, when I would poll my audience on Patreon after a campaign on Patreon for Phobos, it was like surprising that like 50% of the people would have discovered me from YouTube. And that was without me making a focus of YouTube for discoverability for the campaigns, right? And so I figure if I just go all in, focus on YouTube this time around, that will be the biggest source of people. But the mailing list is still important. And so, for instance, I have an old mailing list that I started with Remind, and I think it's about 3,000 people now. So it doesn't grow really fast, but it's still a lot of people. But a lot of those emails are probably old now. It gets about a 1/4 conversion rate, not conversion, but like, so if I send out 3,000 emails, I'll get like 800 to 1,000 people that open it on that list. So it's not amazing, but it's better than, I mean, it was better at one point when I was more active with specifically that mailing list, and that was the only way to really get on board with what I'm doing, or my blog, so there's that, and it's still there. I still think that's a really important piece of the puzzle. But one of the things that I tried this time around was this feature with BackerKit. BackerKit's a company that manages like post-campaign stuff, like, so it manages the tiers and helps you ship out things easier, and it's great. I love BackerKit. Sometimes it seems a little expensive, but it's really worth it. And so BackerKit just announced earlier this year this thing called like I don't know what it's called, like a campaign launch type feature, and they sold me on it. It's you got to pay a certain amount of money. It's a flat rate. You pay for it. But then what happens is, since I've had so many campaigns run through BackerKit, you can load in all your previous Kickstarter campaigns, and it pulls in all the emails, organizes it based on who's pledged the most across time on all your campaigns, how many campaigns they've pledged on, and it kind of starts generating like a good snapshot of what you can expect going forward based on past results. And it's just really intuitive and really neat to dig through. And so then they give you these templates of like, you should email this list. We'll email this list for you, and you probably all got the email about that a week before the campaign that says, I'm going to launch this. Can I get your commitment on the campaign? And then people click on that, and what that does then is it starts aggregating all that information. It says, based on how many people have committed, you can expect to get about this much money in the first 24 hours if like 60% of those people actually follow through. And it ended up being about 3,000 people on that list of people who had bought in the past. And that's kind of one of the better lists to have, is a list of people who have bought in the past. So anyway, that's one of the new things I'm trying, and so far it's shaping up to be a really good system, very worth it. So, and then also I have my patron list, so I let my patrons know exclusive things, and then the rest of the focus is going to be on YouTube, and then there'll be a focus on Instagram too, but I don't expect Instagram to be the big player. I think YouTube will be. So that's my plan. That's my strategy. And then hoping to get the point across that people can share the campaign to get original art. And so the goal with that is, like, if anyone can put it on, if they have a Kickstarter, they say, check out this campaign, here's my special link, or make a YouTube video review of Sithrah 1 through 4, or whatever it is, to just kind of generate sales so that they can win awesome things. I don't know. I don't know of anyone who's done it. I haven't talked to people about it, but I just hope that it's something that people are aware of, and that people try to take advantage of it, because I want to just make exclusive perks just for people who share it, and that's it. So those are my strategies.
Are you just going to have like a garage full of books when this whole thing gets done?
It will be it'll be a lot. I already have a lot, and that's part of the reason I want to give such discounts on the old books. Is my goal with this is to just clean house. I want to kind of like only have maybe 500 extra copies of Sithrah 5 and 6 left that I can give to my distributor and do random fulfillment myself with after the campaign. But I really want to just clean house and just like sell out of old stuff. That's kind of the wish list for me. Because it's, having 6 books, having thousands of copies of 6 books, it's just a lot to juggle, manage. So I would rather sell out and then focus on the next book, I think, and have enough to fulfill for the distributor to fulfill for a year or so, and then launch the next campaign. Well, hey, Austin.
Hey.
Right
you
when
got
I
a
was ready to
question.
sign off.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
right when we were about to time out.
Dang it.
Yeah, last minute question. That sounds more like a bit of a demand, since you should do Sithrah in stop motion format.
Yeah,
with like
that would
clay.
be awesome. I would love it.
That would look fun. Now
Yeah.
I'm imagining it. Yeah, that would be fun looking for sure.
If Leica, is it Leica that does the stop motion?
Yes.
If they would do it, I'd be like, yes, everything, all the stars would align.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool. I never thought about that, but I love the idea.
Oh my God.
All right.
Yeah, stop motion doesn't get enough love.
I know it doesn't. It's such a
No.
cool art form. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to sign off so I can eat some breakfast, and then in an hour I'll jump onto Doug Naples' show, and so I'll be there. So head on over there if you want to hear more. And I plan on live streaming a lot this month while this campaign is happening. So I'll be working on tightening up Sithrah pages on live stream. I'll be trying to have a lot of guests on and stuff too. And I don't know, just working the YouTube thing as much as I can. So you'll have plenty of time.
Well, congratulations
maybe
on a huge start.
Patrons back on again a couple times too. Maybe we'll make this a weekly thing while this campaign's happening if you want.
That's cool. I'm all for it.
All for it. Okay.
Cool.
Well,
Maybe
good.
we'll have some good commentary.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, guys.
Cool.
I'm going to sign off this live stream. Thanks for participating, and please use your links and share it. And I appreciate all you guys' support.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Bye. Have a good one.
Bye.
And